thought I would turn the camera on pretty much because I have not. Wait, where's my mic? I haven't really uploaded a video for a while. It's been like maybe more than a month, and mainly because a lot has been going on in life. And I thought I would just turn the camera on to talk to you and update you. And yeah, let's just do that. So hopefully, this is a good angle because you guys are all the way. I tried to make the camera setup work, but it's got to do what it's got to do. Okay, so let me just make sure my mic is working because, okay, it's working. Okay, so pretty much, let's just long story short, because I am still a new YouTuber, um, I moved to Austin, Texas, April of 2023. And when I moved, I let's just rewind. I'm a Cali girl. I am from California, born and raised. All that I know, have never lived anywhere else until April of 2023 when I moved to Austin, Texas. Now, when I moved here, I did not know anyone. I didn't have any friends, any family, any associates, just didn't know anyone here. I chose to move here because I felt like Austin was going to be more affordable and I was not going to have such a culture shock with the weather because it does get really hot here. It gets really cold. I mean, it gets all of the seasons, or at least that's just my opinion. So I thought this would be a place where it would be more affordable, but I also get, some hot weather, some nice sunny days. Um, that's why I chose to come to Austin. And I think it was the right decision. Now, pretty early on, I knew that Austin was not going to be my forever place. I knew that it was going to be a portal for me, somewhere where I will build, create, and um, focus with my head down, tucked away. That's the chapter it was for me. And I knew that's what chapter I was going into, and Austin was going to foster that, which it has. So, long story short, I moved because I felt like I needed a change. I needed to start new. I needed to be in a place where I didn't know anyone. I needed to depend on myself. I needed to grow in my spiritual relationship. Not saying that I needed to come to Austin to do that, but I had been around my family. I've always been around my family and very close. And so I depended on my sister, my mother, their opinions for a lot of my life. And I don't feel like I was truly living from my own space, my own mind, my own, you know, journey, really. So I needed a change. I had lost my grandmother, who was very important and I grew up with. And I knew that I was living from a place of fear, and I did not want to let fear drive me anymore because it was taking me to destinations that I was not happy with. So it was time for me to get out of my comfort zone and try something new. So I ended up in Austin. It Austin has been amazing as far as my personal and spiritual growth, but as far as a city, I also do think there's a lot of great things, but there's also a lot of things that um, aren't so great. And that's not what this video is. This is just to come here and just kind of give you a recap on my channel and like what's been going on with me and why I haven't posted in a month or so. So, When I came to Austin, I brought my job with me, and it was a remote position in the insurance industry. Now, I absolutely hated my job. I did not enjoy any part of my job. But it was a remote position and it allowed me to travel. So I was able to bring my job with me to Austin and move here. So I appreciate my job for that. Um, I stayed working with my job for an additional year while I was in Austin, but I also studied to be a real estate agent, took the test, passed, and then got into the world of real estate. So when I got into the world of real estate, I fasted, I prayed, I said, Lord, I do not want to be working in the world of insurance anymore. I don't like it. I'm unhappy. It's making me, it's bringing so much stress to my life. I'm ready to walk away. Now, God had been telling me to walk away for a long time, but I just didn't listen because my faith just wasn't there. I was like, now who's going to pay my bills? Where, like what happens if I can't pay rent? I was just thinking from like a scarcity mindset and from a place of fear, that place I was trying to get away from. Um, and eventually I finally listened to the nudge and to God and walked away from that job. And that was the best decision I've ever made in my life. Now, when I walked away, I did have my real estate license, but I didn't have too much like guarantee, like as far as knowing I'm going to get a paycheck every so often. This was a world of being an independent contractor, working under a 1099, and that was new to me. But walked out, and it was me stepping out on faith. I signed to a broker where I was doing apartment locating. And apartment locating, I think it was the wrong broker, but I also think it was the wrong um, concentration or focus for in real estate. I wanted to start off in apartment locating so that I could save up enough money in order to branch off into any other areas of real estate, since other areas takes longer to see a paycheck, but apartment locating just did not turn out the way that I had expected it to. I had so many commissions that were tied up and I wasn't being paid. These commissions, apartments, properties were paying late and trying not to pay at all. So a lot of my commissions were tied up in legal, trying to collect my money. I ended up walking away from my broker and from apartment locating, went into single family leasing for probably about just a month or a little over a month. And the broker that I signed up with, again, I moved in a place of I need income. I did research on them. They seem like a cool broker, so I signed with them. It doesn't have to be difficult. So I did it and I was doing market visits. You guys saw in some of my vlogs, I was doing market visits and looking at properties, making sure they were in move-in ready, making sure they were ready to be rented, and just um, posting listings on the MLS and everything like that. And I had been seeing a lot of what do I want to say? I have been seeing a lot of what felt like unlawful activity within the brokerage that I was working for, and there was just a lot of questionable practices. Um, Ultimately, there were some things that took place, and I just couldn't be a part of it. So I walked away from them, and I'm currently now working for a temp agency um, as a assistant manager for a leasing office for apartment leasing. And that's been great. There's it's not something that I want to do long term. It's something that's I'm doing for the time being until I find something that I really want to get into, whether it still be I find a broker. Um, I'd love to be a buyer's agent. Um, and there's other things that I'd love to do. So I'm just doing that temporarily as a bridge job. I don't think that I'm going to be there long because they are hiring, and I'm just going to stay there until they hire who they need to hire to fill the position. But they did offer me the position and they wanted me to stay there. I've been signing leases left and right, and I'm proud of myself for how I'm showing up. But I still know that this is just not the path for me. So even though I'm good at it, and it doesn't feel like heavy, though it feels like something I should like. It doesn't feel like something. It doesn't feel like my destination, but it also doesn't feel heavy like other places of employment has been for me. So I'm allowing myself to stay there and be good at it. Doesn't mean I have to commit to it full time. So I decided to turn that down. Honestly, I'm rambling, I feel like. But I say all this to say that we're all on a journey, and I mentioned this before. We're just walking each other home. We weren't given a manual of how to live life and what you're supposed to do in every situation. We're not perfect, but we're just trying to live and live the best way that we can. And sometimes you have to try things before you find out what's for you or what fits or, what resonates, what doesn't. And sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to learn more about your direction and what you like, what feels good, what doesn't. But it isn't my desire to work with no rest. It isn't my desire to move from a place of scarcity anymore. It isn't my desire to work, overwork, and be underpaid. No one desires these things, right? But sometimes we fall into this lifestyle because it's what's shown to us. It is what's, society as a whole for so many decades have said you just go to college, graduate, go to work, retire, die, and there's just so much more to life than that. So I just encourage anyone who's watching this to really challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone, try new things because that is how you know what works for you. It doesn't mean that you're directionless, it doesn't mean that you're lost. Doesn't mean that you're aimless. Even if you don't have it all figured out, does not mean that you're not on the right path and does not mean that you're not fulfilling your purpose. You just haven't connected the dots yet. You waking up and breathing is fulfilling your purpose. You making this decision to move forward is fulfilling your purpose. And sometimes you don't see how everything connect, but just keep moving forward. You will land at your destination. And honestly, it's really more about the journey than the destination. Life is in the journey. I'm going to stop preaching. But these are some things that I myself had to learn. And, you know, it just is what it is. I mean, I've met so many different people, people in their 50s, all age groups, all nationalities, cultures, what have you. And I just recently met a woman who was 77, and she mentioned to me, she said, "I feel like at this age I should have everything figured out." Now, she is dealing with a divorce. Well, she's not getting a divorce and she's not getting a separation because she said she and her husband had been together for so long. But she's moving to a different state. Her husband is staying where they own their home in a whole different state. She's moving to Austin. I don't remember what state she's from, but she's moving to Austin by herself. She made this decision on her own for herself. And it was a decision she wanted to make for the longest, but she's finally making it at 77. She is amazing, but she feels like she's behind in life. And you're really just not behind. You're on your own path, you're on your own journey. And as long as we're living and breathing and waking up in the morning and we have air in our lungs, we can decide we're always going to be learning about ourselves, about what we want, about those around us, about our purpose, about how deep our purpose takes us. And sometimes it just doesn't look linear. It's not linear, you know what I'm saying? Like life isn't linear. But it's the ebbs and the flows. But I'm rambling now. At this point I'm rambling, and so I'm going to stop. It is raining outside, but I love the rainy weather, and so I wanted to be as close to the rain as I could, which is in my car. I'm also about to stop at the store and do some groceries, and also what else am I gonna do? I might stop at AT&T, and I'm probably gonna come home and find a movie, cook some food, relax, and just enjoy my 3-day weekend. Happy 4th of July to those who celebrate. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. The next video should be my California video and when I went back home to visit family. Um and then yeah, I also wanted to say that my lease ends really soon in August. I've been in Austin for 2 years and 3 months. I was contemplating on going back to California or staying in Austin. Um, I don't really know where I'm going to be in terms of work, what I'm going to be doing. But if I got another year in me for Austin, I'll probably just stay for another year. If not, I'll probably leave. That's still something that's up in the air, even though my lease ends next month in August. So that's also going to be a journey that you'll be following me on that as well. And we're just going to figure it out together. We're just going to walk each other home. Peace.